When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels for your weekly dose of glamour, inspiration, and, of course, fun. And we're back for season 3 of the podcast, and I am so excited for all the fun things we have planned this season and the amazing guests we have coming up on the show. I truly love doing this podcast for all of you, and I'm so grateful that you all love listening to the show so much. My favorite compliment ever, honestly, is when people come up to me and tell me they love climbing in heels. I'm so happy to be back for season 3. You have no idea. I know there are about 1 billion podcasts out in the world, so the fact that you're back with me for this next chapter is everything. Okay, so I thought I would kick this new season off with a topic that seems to be back on the forefront of lots of people's brains. I've been asked in a lot of interviews. I don't know, it could just be current pop culture, but that is Y2K fashion. And as you might know, or may not, my styling career really caught fire in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I, at the time, was working in the music industry. In fact, I was eating, sleeping, and breathing in the music industry. I worked with a lot of everyone's favorites, so it's very exciting and lots to discuss. So here to help me dive into some of my more famous Y2K is my producer, Mary Elizabeth. So let's get right into it.
Well. Look at us back for season 3. How exciting. As Rachel mentioned, for some reason, since January, you have been getting a lot of requests for quotes or stories or trending topics about your experience in your Y2K styling era. Mm-hmm. So as you mentioned, you started in the music industry in the days when music videos were the biggest marketing tool for a label and a song.
Yes.
So the days of TRL, which I was obsessed with, the butterfly hair clips, the capri pants, the layering of tank tops, the Y2K fashion is back, whether we like it or not. And I think so I put up in your story for our listeners to answer questions or ask you questions that you will answer about Y2K specifically. And it by far and away got more responses than maybe any sticker I've put on your story, like ever. So we're going to jump into listener questions that they have about Y2K and your contributions to the era. But I thought it would be fun first to lay the scene for everybody.
I want to sidebar. You said late 90s, or I said late 90s. I was like a kid then.
Oh, sure, for sure. Oh, yeah.
I was a kid.
She was
too young to do anything in the 90s.
Definitely not a full adult. Definitely not. Nope. Yes, I must have been wrong on that.
Yep.
So I thought it would be fun to first lay the scene for listeners about the iconic music videos that you worked on, because all the millennials like me who know and love you from the Rachel Zoe Project grew up in that era of, like I said, TRL, and waited on bated breath for our favorite pop stars to drop their music videos. And you were a part of some truly iconic ones that I don't know if everybody knows.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know all of them, because I will be very honest with you. My life from the minute I went freelance, I legitimately, it's like I always say to you on the regular, like, it's a blur. It's an actual blur, because the music industry was on such fire, and the amount of money being spent on every aspect of the artist, their life, and all of that was so intense. And like the speed at which these pop stars were working, shooting, touring, performing. I was like me, myself, and I with like one assistant with like 50 racks of clothes. So like when you say it, I'll be like, oh my God, of course I did that. But like if you asked me, I could remember probably like a handful of them. And like when I hear a song now, like of Backstreet or Enrique or Jessica Simpson or Britney, I'll be like, oh, I did that.
You're like, oh crap. I was on set. I was actually on set.
Okay, I did that look. Right.
I love it. Okay, so let's kick it off. I mean, the Y2K queen was definitely Miss Britney Spears.
Yes.
And you did work with Britney Spears.
I did.
And you did work on, correct me if I'm wrong, Hit Me Baby One More Time.
I did. So that was actually one of my very first freelance jobs because there is a woman out in the world. I haven't spoken to her in forever, but Haley Hill, who was my boss at YM Magazine. And Haley was the senior fashion editor, fashion director at the time. And she would get booked on these big like commercials and stuff. And she was booked on Britney's video and stuff through her manager, Sonia Muckle.
Okay.
And Sonia, who I remember like yesterday, I think I ran into her in the last couple of years. It was wild. And Haley needed help. And she had 2 jobs booked at the same time. It was like one of those things. So I was still working at the magazine and I think it was being shot on a weekend.
Okay.
And so,
do you remember where it was being shot?
No. Like I want to say Brooklyn.
Okay.
Or Queens. Like I can't, like at a stage or studio, I can't remember. But that's for some reason feeling familiar. And she called me because she needed help. And so I went in and started like just working on it and like pulling the clothes and doing the prep and like being on set and whatever. And I think at the time, like I was so obsessed with being great at my job that I never looked at stars as stars, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think in the moment I knew or cared that much that it was Britney. I knew, but it was more like I was such a fashion girl that to me, like if you were like, you're going on set with Karl Lagerfeld and Kate Moss, that would have given me a cold sweat panic attack.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so I think just
it worked in your favor that you weren't
effective,
starstruck or just obsessed with pop music at the time. It served you well.
Yeah, I was able to, I think, maintain professionalism without like freaking out. Because I was so young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was so young, but yeah, I felt so much older than these, kids.
They were
really.
Kids.
Some of them were, like Kevin Richardson was not a kid.
Right. Okay, so that leads me to the next group, which is the Backstreet Boys.
But the Britney, I want to touch on for one sec, because after I did these few jobs working with Haley, that was the impetus for me going freelance.
Really?
Because I made so much money on those jobs that I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is creative. This is fun. Like, I'm out in the world. I'm not sitting in a fluorescent lit office.
Yep.
I'm not locked in a fashion closet. And so this was sort of like, I just felt alive, honestly. Yeah. And that is when I made the move to go freelance. Like shortly after that, because then I got promoted and then I went freelance probably later that year, left there as senior fashion editor. But it's important because as senior fashion editor, I was styling a lot of shoots for the magazine and all the covers.
Sure.
And I met a lot of publicists and a lot of pop stars and actors. Like that's where I met Gwen Stefani
on cover shoots,
Drew Barrymore.
So that's really how you got your foot into this like music world.
That's how I met the publicist.
Love that
later helped
would hire me.
Smart. And so I made a lot of connections there. And then after I was working with Britney, I worked with Britney on my own a bunch. I flew to the World Music Awards to Monaco for 24 hours. I thought I was never going to work again because I got there. I flew with her and the bodyguards and like the team. And I just remember like I had like no notice. It was sort of like, you're leaving tomorrow and she's performing at World Music Awards in Monaco and you're going. And I was so young. So it was like, okay, I just never unpacked a suitcase and like blah, blah, blah. And I went and I remember getting there and I remember the management team going, okay, everybody break, take a nap, take a shower, whatever. And me, Mary, like I don't nap, I don't sleep. But what did I do? I fucking blacked out. I blacked out, and the next thing I
no.
remember is security banging on my door, telling me we had to leave. She was going on stage. I had to get her ready. I'm by myself. I had no assistant. Like I was literally,
my God.
that was like one of the most panicked moments of my life.
I can't even imagine it, but for you to fall asleep that hardcore, because I know you sleep like
Because I
the
think I pulled
lightest,
an all-nighter.
worst sleeper maybe in the history of the world. You must have been like truly exhausted.
Yeah.
But that is really,
And it was terrifying. I was like, she's going to miss her performance or go on naked because I fell asleep.
and I'll never work again.
And by the way, that was truly the feeling and psychology that I had probably for the rest of my career was the like, if you fuck this up, you're not working
done.
anymore.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're done.
Truthfully.
So you're working with Brittany. How was Brittany then? Was she
she was great.
because this is the sort of the beginning of her mega success.
She was great. And I think she was great. She was cute. She was bubbly. She was fun.
Was she collaborative with you? Did she like getting dressed, or was she stubborn?
It was more what I very clearly remember was that I was trying to, I think, make her a little, sort of create a more, what do I say? Fashion, I guess, maybe. Less sort of ripped everything and whatever. And I was trying to do a little more fashion. I remember.
A little more polish.
And I remember she was performing Cher's song at the World Music Awards. You know, what's it? In a rhythm to the...
La da 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 dee. Yeah.
Oh
Why
my
can't I
God.
remember the name of this song?
When the Beat Goes
When
On.
the beat goes
It's
on.
like that,
Oh my God,
something like
thank you.
that.
My brain hurts from thinking about that.
And she was incredible. And she had like long hair. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give her this like very Cher, like kind of try to do this like Bob Mackie, like, you know, just a very like whatever. And I just remember it was this long, like, I believe if I remember correctly from 500 years ago, Donna Karan like did this like custom like couture at that time because we used to do all these award show dressing looks together. Like we would do custom things for clients, but she was doing this very special, it was like this long beaded, like almost like a mermaid fishtail long skirt. And basically we put this top on her, and I just remember like 2 minutes before she went on stage, she went in the bathroom and cut it.
She cut the couture.
She cut the couture. She cropped the top to just below her boobs, if I remember correctly. I cried.
Yikes. Yeah. I mean, as the stylist, I'm sure you cried a
Well,
lot.
I cried only because I was like, am I fired from Donna Karan now for life?
Have
like,
I ruined my relationship with her? Yeah.
Did she hate what I styled? But she looked incredible. She performed great. We all went to this big dinner with Prince Albert that
Oh
night.
my God.
And at that was the beginning of my very surreal life.
Yeah.
Really. For
And
the
that
next 20 years.
Jumped you to Backstreet Boys, which
Same management. It was with the Firm, a place called the Firm, which had Enrique, Backstreet, and Britney. And I want to say NSYNC, but maybe that's wrong.
Well,
that may be wrong.
For millennial girls like me, you were either Backstreet or NSYNC, and there was no.
Well, it's like, are you Edward or are you Jacob?
Of course. Yeah.
And now with Summer I Turn Pretty, it's are you Conrad or are you Jeremy?
I mean, it's just, it goes on forever, doesn't it? Backstreet Boys equal to basically Beatlemania.
Beyond.
In terms of like
Beyond.
the logistics of them traveling, touring, being around. It must have been so insane to not only have one very famous client, but 5 very famous clients.
I can't really explain what was happening.
So you didn't do, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't do the Backstreet's Back music video, right? The one where they're like Phantom of the Opera and it's like the dance, like the Thriller vibes were there.
That might be right when I started.
Because you started with the Millennium album and
was
tour,
that my
right?
first or was that my last into Millennial? That I literally cannot remember.
You can't remember.
I have to watch that video.
Okay.
But I
It's
very
like
clearly remember.
It's very like Michael Jackson Thriller inspired. They're like
Okay.
dancing. It's like sort of a haunted mansion vibe.
Why do I feel like
It's
what were
very-
they wearing? I could tell by what they were wearing.
Like
Did they look like
AJ
I
was
styled
like-
them?
No, because it was so theatrical.
Right.
So like AJ has like the Phantom of the Opera mask on at one
Right.
point. Like Brian, I think it was Brian, is like a werewolf man. Like it was very, very theatrical.
I did so many music videos with them, and
Yeah.
we did like there's nothing we didn't do. So it's possible, but I remember Millennium.
Because that's the all white album.
Oh, well,
cover.
yeah, I remember
Yes.
that like it was, because I remember walking into my hotel room. I had been prepping for so long. And what you have to remember, and I need people to try and like visualize what my life was with Backstreet. Imagine 5 kids, different, like anyone who has 5 kids. You could have 10 kids and not one of them would be alike.
Sure.
Not one of them would dress the same. Not one would
Right.
behave
Yeah,
the same. And that's what it was like. And it was like 5 guys that I loved, honestly, deeply. I was so close with them. They were like brothers, and Kevin was like a friend, because I think we were the same age.
Kevin was the slightly older one in the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kevin kind of felt like, honestly, like the dad of the group, you know? And he and I hung out. I loved his girlfriend, wife, Kristen. And, you know, I went through so much with all of them. I would say Nick was the baby and really felt like the baby, you know?
Sure.
And I genuinely think, I just remember white, gray, black, but like Millennium obviously was all white, but I remember ideating with that. And I remember saying like, it's a new century. It's a new, like everything should be clean. Everything should be new. And I remember like creating that and saying like, they need to look modern. They need to look cool. They need to look clean. They need to like look cohesive.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing that I focused on with them, was cohesion, because I felt everyone needed to have their own style and their own take on the concept, which they did.
Sure.
And that was the challenge, right? But like we would have, if it was 5 guys, I swear to God, I had a minimum of 5 racks per guy.
Yeah.
So I would stand there with, 50 racks of clothes,
It's
and
just
white,
overwhelming,
white Prada,
that job.
white Dolce, white Gucci, white,
yeah.
you name it, white Zara, white
Everything.
white everything, right? Calvin, white,
That's insane.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
That's insane.
My wardrobe budgets were, and remember, in those days, it was not like computer based. We didn't have like the cell phone world. Like it wasn't like that. So there was like StarTAC phones. So I was not doing expenses on a phone. I wasn't taking notes.
Right.
Everything was paper. Everything was taxis. Everything was food, paper, receipts, everything. So if I had like $100,000 wardrobe budget, $200,000 wardrobe budget, I had to account for every penny of that. And the worst part as a stylist, as any stylist will tell you, is you have to lay out that money, and then you wait.
Yeah.
And you wait to get reimbursed.
Oh,
it's a terrible model.
That's terrible.
It's a terrible business model.
Literally a stomach ulcer.
It's a terrible business model. So every bit of my free time that I didn't have was spent taping or glue sticking taxi receipts, food receipts,
my God.
tailoring, alteration, shipping, purchasing. I had to purchase a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff custom made.
Yeah.
I would be like down on 8th Street getting random like things for AJ, like feather things, or like I would get like embroidered or studded. Like I would buy a leather vest and have someone in 8th Street just like add studs to it, or grommets on the shoes, or
my God.
denim, rip it up. I would tie things to like a car and drive so they would get beaten down. I would wash them. I would just try and like wear things down. T-shirts. I would tea stain them.
Yeah.
Tea stain.
I remember the tea stain.
Tie dye, you name it.
Oh my God.
That
job
no
is too
free.
much. Yeah.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I'm constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smartwater's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smartwater even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smartwater, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smartwater is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smartwater is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Okay, one of my personal favorite music videos that I'm obsessed with you working on is Mr. Enrique Iglesias' Hero.
Oh my God.
That song, that video, I would wait for TRL because I thought he was so gorgeous. And I also like the drama of the song in that music video with like Jennifer Love Hewitt and Mickey Rourke was the villain.
You have no idea.
I was obsessed with that video and that song.
That experience was perhaps one of the craziest experiences of my styling career, of my life.
Yeah.
I will remember that video forever for many reasons. That and another Enrique video where he met Anna, where he met his wife.
That is so funny.
And another Enrique video where I styled him with Whitney Houston.
Oh my
And that
God.
was unforgettable. Honestly,
Iconic. That's
unforgettable.
so amazing.
And her daughter came to set.
But Hero was a stressful job.
So Hero was crazy because it was this director, Joseph Kahn.
Yep. Who at the time was the guy.
I worked mainly with Joseph Kahn. I worked with Francis Lawrence.
Right.
A lot. He did a lot of the videos.
Who now directs like very major motion
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah. That video was in Palm Springs
Okay.
at the Merv Griffin estate,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. We stayed at, one of those great hotels. I remember getting there like 2 a.m. We had to be on set at 4:30. A prop stylist actually died on their way to set.
I remember you telling
me. It was
me
the
this.
absolute saddest thing because she drove off the ledge.
Oh my God.
There was no railing on the location we were going to. We were shooting, if I remember correctly, like August 27th or August 28th, something like that.
In the middle of the desert?
In the middle of the desert. It was
sweltering.
104 by 7 a.m.
Oh my God.
Aaliyah died.
Oh, you got the news that she died.
We got the news that she died while we were on set in the desert.
God. Because she was also shooting a music video in the Caribbean, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Her plane crashed. And so it was all these weird
energy. Yeah.
Mickey Rourke was there. I was in a hotel with Mickey Rourke, and that was wild. By the way, he couldn't have been sweeter to me.
I'm
for the
sure
record,
he was.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt, I had known because we had done a bunch of shoots together. Because I think she had done like Party of Five. I had met her through like YM, and then I became her stylist for a bunch of things. And so I was doing her and Enrique, and Enrique is one of the most professional people you've ever known. He just is. And he would show up. He is by far and away the most handsome and charming
Love that
person. Everything you want Enrique to be, he is and more.
Oh.
And me styling,
we love to hear that.
Me styling Enrique, as much as I would try and make him a little fancier at times. Jeans, vintage Levi's, like vintage jeans, hoodies,
tight shirts.
I got him to go sometimes from a baseball hat to a beanie, which ended up being like a signature. So that was a moment. I loved him. I still love him. I'll always love him. And I styled him for the video where he met his wife, Anna Kournikova, and I styled her as well. And I remember so clearly standing behind the monitor because I was obsessive about obviously everything
looks
and like looks, clothes, everything. But the thing with me beyond styling, I really did everything in terms of like, I watched the lighting, I watched the angles, I would suggest to the directors how it might work better.
Yeah.
I would sit in all the time. I would try, I was so in it.
You were very present
I
on
was
set.
every
Yeah.
part of it. But I remember standing behind the monitor, and I remember looking at the director and looking at Enrique's team, this guy Fernando at the time, and I was like, chemistry's pretty real in this one. This may go past this video, everyone.
Something might be going on.
And it did.
And they've been married for a long
They've
time.
been together ever since that video.
Ugh, I love that so much. Okay, rounding out your iconic music video moments, we have to talk about Jessica Simpson.
Okay.
We have to talk about these boots were made for walking. I mean, you fully dressed her like Daisy Duke, right?
I did.
She had, because the song was for promotional for the movie,
The Dukes of Hazzard. That was amazing. I
She
just
had
watched a clip of it with
long,
Sky.
long extensions in.
Yep. Ken Pavis.
The tiniest denim shorts you've ever seen in your life.
Ever.
And like a midriff tank top.
Yep. She looked.
And a big belt, right?
That belt. But whatever.
Probably weighed more than she did.
But
to
everybody
be fair.
needs to understand, because I think it's so important if you don't know what stylists do. What I need to explain to you is that when you look at that video of Jessica Simpson and you look at, okay, she's wearing these cowboy boots, a big belt, these tiny little denim shorts, and this crop top. Okay, great. And I think we did cool earrings, if I remember correctly. She was so good in that video, honestly.
Yeah.
But what nobody knows is that to get to that look, there was literally 50 belts laid out with different buckles and different straps. There was maybe 30 pairs of cutoff denim shorts, maybe more, to make sure they were the right fit. We would have tailors on set that would make them shorter to make them shorter, then fray them so they look vintage. Cowboy boots, 100 pairs.
Oh my God.
And like the t-shirts, I would run up and down Melrose and La Brea and go all the thrift stores, and it's not what it looks like.
No.
Is all I'm saying.
Well, the simplicity of, denim shorts and a tank top and whatever, I think to an outsider goes, oh, that's so easy. Anyone could do that.
No.
But
No.
the amount of A, approvals it takes to get to the final outfit, and B, getting the final outfit and then keeping it, you're shooting these music videos for more than one day, most likely.
Yep.
Keeping them looking good, having multiples to put on if she rips it or drops whatever on it or whatever. It's more than just a pair of shorts and a tank top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It always is.
Always is.
It always is.
Okie dokie. I'm going to go rapid fire right into our listener Y2K questions.
Okay.
This covers a lot of different sort of like Y2K topics, but let's do it. Let's do a rapid fire. Okay. Question 1. Who is the nicest star from that era that you dressed?
I gotta tell you, the Backstreet Boys, like I said, were literally, it was like almost like I was their sister.
Yeah.
/ mom, that always was with them. Enrique, he's an angel.
Yeah.
We were so close. Like I loved
You're
him.
too nice to say
No,
who's
but it's
nicest.
true. I would honestly tell you, because anyone that was a nightmare, like I didn't have time for, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. That's good
I
to
would
know that
do
everyone
it.
was nice.
And
Yeah.
Jessica and I were like related.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like I was part of the Simpson family at one point.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, who do you wish you could have styled from that era but never got to? I think you could do like music or otherwise.
Maybe J-Lo.
J-Lo.
Right? Because she was like, that
Early
was in her
2000s,
P.
yeah.
Diddy days.
That's right. That was like her
Jenny from the
first
Block.
Jenny from the Block. Yeah.
You know
who else I feel like, and I don't even know if you have worked with her, but like talking about like more 90s, whatever, but Alicia Silverstone.
I did
Like
work with
Cher
her.
Horowitz.
I
from
did
Clueless.
work with her.
Yeah.
I styled
'Cause she
her
was, like,
for different shoots.
Aerosmith's muse, right? She was in all of those music videos.
Yeah.
But I feel like I feel like she could have been like a client of yours, like no brainer, just with her like aesthetic. Okay, what accessories from Y2K stand out to you the most? Like when you think about just accessories and having to like have 1,000 options of blank, what is it?
I'll be honest with you. Like I just remember coats,
Coats,
like jackets, and like accessories. Hats.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hats.
I feel like also with jackets, Y2K had an interesting
big.
fabric
Yeah, it was that techie Prada.
Yes.
It was that's why I keep
scuba,
going to
like the
coats.
scuba gear.
It was neoprene.
Yes.
It was a lot of neoprene, but the thing with me though, truthfully, I think I'd never succumbed to the oversized cargo pant and the sneakers with the big socks and stuff. And I think that's why in its resurgence, I'm like, no, see, I didn't.
You didn't like it then.
I was trying to go against the crop top. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think for me, I was shifting into like the 90s, like this sort of minimalism and the chic, and then the sort of like over the top. And I was just about pretty.
Yeah.
But for guys, to be honest, my vibe was like, just look hot.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, hot was Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise. Like,
yeah.
To me, it was always trying to make the guys, especially with like Enrique, it was that like, no, like look like Johnny Depp with Kate Moss. Like,
yeah.
Like beat up jeans, cool belt, beat up like Chelsea boots.
Yep.
And like a cool like leather or suede jacket with a vintage tee. Like, to me, that was cool.
Yeah.
And that's where I was trying to take the guys, because that's where all of like young Hollywood, that was the young Hollywood vibe.
Yeah.
And so I was able
merging the world.
I was able to do that with Enrique.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. We got this question a couple of times.
Oh my God.
Why did thongs become popular in Y2K?
Oh my God.
It was like a thong craze. I mean, there was even the song. Song.
Paris
Hilton.
You know, I don't think we've talked about Paris Hilton here.
Yeah.
And like Nicole and everything, because we're talking pop music. But I mean, I think Paris was like Juicy Sweats.
Yeah.
Which was the biggest Y2K.
Fashion-wise,
that's a thing. Like we can't forget that was J-Lo, Madonna, and like the whole velvet tracksuit of like my friend Pam Levy and Gila that created the Juicy tracksuit, and that was like rhinestone, like bedazzled tracksuits, bedazzled jackets, kits in.
Oh yeah,
the bedazzled everything. So I think we can't like not mention that because it's such a part of Christina Aguilera, like all of them. And Christina was opening for Backstreet Boys at the time.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Because she obviously went on to be her own massive success story.
Yep.
So yeah, the thongs like coming out of the pants. We'll blame Paris.
And then we did the low slung jeans.
It's almost like the thong craze happened because the jeans were just too low.
Yes.
The jeans were god awfully low.
And just to be clear, I want to be clear, I was not an advocate for that.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I think Paris, like, I have such a clear visual of when I met her with like the cropped, bleached white platinum hair in like a pink velvet sweatsuit with like so low, but she looked so hot, you know?
Yeah.
And she was so sweet and friendly, honestly.
Yeah.
But Kitson, I just keep thinking about Kitson.
Oh, yeah. It was the craze. Okay, next up. Thin eyebrows. Just why? Just why is what our listeners said.
I'm going to tell you why. Because that started because of like Calvin Klein, John Galliano, all the 90s supers, Kate Moss, they all did it. It was
tweezing their eyebrows off.
It was part of the minimalism movement. And it was all the 90s with matte brown makeup, very neutral palette, matte lips, thin eyebrows, very wafy movement.
Yep.
And very minimal. No bells and whistles, no jewels, very clean. It was the Kate Moss Calvin movement, honestly.
Yeah.
And Kate Moss, she was like 16.
I know.
I mean, she changed
young.
whole...
I mean, some of us millennial girls are paying for the over tweezing to this day.
I would like to proudly say that my mother... I have to thank my mom for not letting me do that.
That's good.
Because I still to this day have eyebrows.
Blessed. You made it out.
I still have
You made
eyebrows.
it out of Y2K with your brows.
I don't have my 90s, 2000 eyebrows, but I still have eyebrows.
Fair. Okie dokie. Last question. Who was your most stubborn client from Y2K? Doesn't mean mean or difficult, but who was the most stubborn when it came to like getting dressed or wearing what you recommended or...
When I think about it, it's like this sort of like the Lindsay, Misha, Nicole, we had so much fun. So they weren't. I'm thinking about my music world. Like, I mean, Brittany, I would say definitely was the one who would sort of like change from whatever my...
Well, after you told me the cutting the couture story.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brittany was definitely probably the one that, you know, did that. And I think I'm thinking about some of the Backstreet Boys. Like, we really collaborated. I mean, AJ and I had so much fun because he was the most like out there, you know?
Yeah.
He was the most costumey.
He was like he was like the bad boy of the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, for sure.
So he was like the risk taker.
Yeah, and he had the most incredible voice. And Kevin was like dressing like my brother. It was fun.
And Roger, right?
Yeah, and Nick, it was like chasing him to put clothes on him.
Oh my God. Because he's just like running around enjoying his success.
And Brian was like a gentleman, you know, and Howie was a doll.
Okay, this is your final question.
Okay.
What was your go-to look in the Y2K era? When you were on set, when you were traveling, when you were...
Black and jeans. Like I would wear dark jeans. I'd wear like...
Flare, obviously.
Yeah, always. Dark denim, some kind of like black, probably ankle boot, you know, some kind of boot. And like a black like leather jacket. I had like 100 black leather jackets and that was like my jam.
Your go-to.
Yeah.
Stylists always need pockets. Yeah.
God, I think of it. It's so funny.
Always need a pocket.
It was so fast. I'd like think about what I was even wearing. I can't even like...
Yeah.
I never thought about me.
Right. Well, because you said I kept a suitcase packed. So you're just like bringing the same things over and over,
weird.
I'm sure.
So weird.
Oh my gosh.
I flew a lot of private planes. I remember that.
Ooh, that's fun though.
I was on private planes very young. Very young.
Did you witness anyone have a total meltdown on a private plane?
Of course I did.
Spill it. Who?
Nope.
Who?
Never.
Who?
Honey, I witnessed more meltdowns between 98 or 97 and 2008, 7, 12.
My wheels are turning.
2013. My styling life is filled with meltdowns.
We're at our time for today.
And on that note, next episode.
You have just queued us up for
part 2
meltdowns.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Part 2 of this podcast, the meltdown episode.
The meltdowns. Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to Climbing in Heels. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the iHeart app, or wherever you get your podcasts. You don't miss a single episode this season. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Rachel Zoe. And of course, the show at Climbing in Heels Pod for the latest episodes and updates. I will talk to you so soon and have a great week. Mwah.
Am I doing the right thing with my finances? Am I saving enough? Can I buy a house? Am I paying too much in taxes? Will I be able to retire? Putting a financial plan together feels impossible. What if I told you there was another way? Take Facet's free financial wellness quiz to get your score and a snapshot of your current financial health. Visit Facet.com now and discover your financial wellness score today. That's FACET.com.
This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth Incorporated is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice.